Today we're talking Looksmaxxing, frame mogging, and who is clavicular. That's nuts, did you say? Leaving multiple in critical condition. They are all getting into ethno-nationalism. They looked good while committing the crimes. You shouldn't know things when you're 30. Back in the 19th century, you'd get these travelling tradesmen who would sell young men elixirs with the promise it would give them strength and courage, and that would give them status, and that meant they would get laid. And by the time these men had finished this elixir and not gotten laid, and actually drank dangerous chemicals that had done more harm than good, the tradesmen were long gone, nowhere to be seen, off into the sunset. But thankfully, nowadays we are past that. Men no longer fall for these tricks. We no longer have a patriarchy that sells us an idea of masculinity that you can't possibly live up to, allowing for grifters to sell products and dangerous ideas. Of course I'm kidding peeps. I'm kidding. We are in end times, and the kids are breaking their faces in the name of Looksmaxxing. Now, I as a 30-year-old man also don't know what the fuck this means. Anyone who's watching this and is 30 and can describe what this stuff is, you are such a loser of epic proportion. You shouldn't know things when you're 30. It's like when I used to listen to dubstep and people who were 30 would go, that's just noise. And you'd go, yeah, you don't get it. And by the way, at the time I thought it was shit as well. You do it to annoy older people. And this is just what young people's version of annoying older people is. They use language we don't get, we don't understand. We use it ironically, but then they actually say it, which is what throws you a little bit. But instead of them listening to Skrillex, they are all getting into ethno-nationalism. Now, Looksmaxxing is a subculture built around maximizing physical effects. There's soft maxing, just working out, diet, drink enough water, which, by the way, was called taking care of yourself. And then there's hard maxing, where you get double jaw surgeries and bone smash your face to get a more chiseled look. So move over women with eating disorders. Men are here to show you how to really self-harm in the name of aesthetics. Once again, men come out on top. The leader of this ring is Clavicular, a cross between Count Dracula and Patrick Bateman. Here's a few of his online highlights.
When you create trauma to a bone, it actually grows back stronger. Growing up, I would typically just use a regular Home Depot hammer, but when my mom caught wind of the whole bone smash thing, she would come and confiscate that.
I do math, yes. So I do math to, basically suppress my appetite and try to get leaner. I find it quite silly to me that you're with the #1 Looksmaxxer, and instead of asking how you could ascend so that, your wife wouldn't tweet out captions like, when my husband's away, Mr. Sud comes out to play. Maybe if you asked me how to ascend, then that would stop happening to you. You know what I mean?
Now, this was all born in the incel forums, and nothing good has ever been formed in a forum. Whenever you hear the words, some men in a forum came together, it's usually followed by leaving multiple in critical condition. And it's built around this idea of making yourself more attractive, and I have been researching it. And this isn't going to be popular, but to be honest, a lot of it's really good advice. Go to the gym, take care of yourself, skincare regime, condition your scalp, all stuff you can tell from my ratty hair and having just left the session demeanor, I do religiously. And I think this is a thing that we don't discuss when talking about the red pill and toxic masculinity, is that a lot of it comes from a good place. It's just somehow it goes from use a cleanser to kill all the Jews, because that's everything nowadays. Everything that happens is an alt-right pipeline that men fall into. That famous German party, that I can't call them their name because of YouTube, because freedom of speech, in the 30s, they looked maxed. They had Hugo Boss. You see their elite divisions? They looked good while committing the crimes. And it's frustrating that we have to admit that. Every country has at some point done a genocide, but nobody has genocide mogged like that famous German party from the years 1933 to 1945. Now, look, there is a spectrum of this, and I think some bits of toxic masculinity do go too far, but you need other bits of it. I don't think we should be toxic, but you do have to understand how male friendship dynamics work. One of my friends starts doing better than me financially, aesthetically, or spiritually, I'm going to tear it down out of my own insecurities. I have a friend who's doing really well in stand-up. He got a finished sauna installed into his house. First thing I did when he asked me to come over and use it was, of course, accuse him of being a homosexual. Because we are going to bully each other as men. It's verbal play fighting. If one of my friends is fat and he's roasting me in the group chat, I've got to bring up his weight. Maybe he has a dead dad. Maybe I can go for that locker. You build up to it. But a lot of these young men, they want to go out there and frame mog and Looksmaxx. And what they need to remember is it's a trend. And trends come and go. And as you get older, you look back and go, what were we thinking? There was a time about 10 years ago where it was perfectly acceptable for men to dress like they worked in a 1930s barbershop. And no one batted an eyelid. Everyone who did that feels a deep sense of shame. But if you're bone smashing your face, that's permanent. You're going to look like that forever. Peaky Blinders dress freaks can delete the photos off Facebook. Double jaw surgery, that's with you for life. Now to look more into the world of masculinity and the beauty industry, we off to our reporter, Elliot Steel. Whenever men get into health and beauty, we have to make it uber masculine. Because male fragility is so bad that even when we try to look good to attract the opposite gender, still a little bit gay. That's why moisturizers targeted to men are called things like Second Battle of Fallujah. Mate, skin's looking really good. Thanks, man. Been using Hellman's Province. Because as men, we need to be reminded that we're warriors. Warriors with rejuvenated skin, but still warriors nonetheless. As guys, we always have to take things to extremes. We can't just get 8 hours sleep and start a skincare regime. People have to die. Cities burn. Humanity eviscerated. Take Elon Musk, a man who's had more surgeries than the transgender kid he disowned. Imagine being so unhappy with how you look, you decide you need to go to a different planet to be the most attractive person there. He's planet mogged us. This is just where men take it whenever we get into wellness. Men will start something like a mental health walk where a group of guys meet up and have a chat about their feelings, which is a good thing. And within 6 months, because it's guys, they'll be doing nonce things. Thank you, Elliot. Guys, don't disfigure your jaw in the name of ascending. You need to learn to be comfortable in your own skin. No women have said they like this, by the way. It's a group of men, like the elixir salesmen in the 1800s, have realized they can profit off of your insecurity, which is what the beauty industry is, by the way. This is nothing new. Advertising agencies were telling us we're too fat or too thin, and then they realize there's money to be made in telling us we're enough, and they get applauded for it by liberals. Thanking an advertising agency for not pushing harmful beauty standards is like thanking a rapist because they walked you home after. That's nuts, did you say? Yeah. This is the first week one of the producers being in the studio and she just went, that's nuts. This is why sometimes it only gets 500 views because YouTube goes, who the fuck are we meant to push this to? And as I said, women don't even like this stuff. And that's what's so dumb about it. I can't think of anything that encapsulates masculinity more than a group of men who would rather break their jaws than listen to women.